Alright, next up we have the Justice card. This is all about fairness and impartialness and possibly the law or the legal system. Whenever you see this card, you will see the scales. So moving into this card feels very much like everything being balanced, everything being equal, all sides taken into account, all views taken into account, impartial decision making, an impartial ruling, a ruling based on fairness and a ruling based on truth. And what's interesting is this card, the scales are not balanced. They are tilted. Okay? So in one hand, the lawgiver, if that is the correct word to use, is holding a sword. So that represents the realm of thought and decisions, right? And a very clear decision, right? Like it's not ambiguous. And then the other side is the scales. So fairness is taken into consideration and both parties or both sides are heard. They are allowed to give their arguments. They are seen. They are taken into consideration, right? The next thing that comes up for me when I move into this card is it feels very much about how you have been treated or how you will be treated or how you treat others or how people treat you. It's very much a you reap what you sow card, right? So what you have been giving to others is what will be returned to you. Extending out compassion, fairness, love, and inclusiveness is going to return that to you. So it feels very much like a do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So if there's some sort of decision that you need to make, the message from this card is do what you would prefer someone else to do to you. Like follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This card is also about black and white, like kind of like rules or how you know how the law is very, very clear, like there's a list of rules, like this, and this means this, and then that means that. So what I get from that is, you know, the energy of this card is a little bit rigid in it's sticking to certain laws, sticking to certain regulations, sticking to certain things that have been clearly documented, written down. Everybody seems to be in agreement in these things, and so that's the way things are going to go. It's going to go the way that it has been decreed, right? So it's a very black and white, open, closed book sort of situation. This card is also very much about pros and cons. You may be deliberating about something, you may be swaying back and forth about something, you may be endlessly thinking in your mind about, well, should I do this or should I do that, and like making endless lists of, well, what if I did that, and then what if I did that, right? It may be about massive deliberation and contemplation and trying to make the best decision for all involved. And I really feel like the message for this card is if there is a decision to be made, it needs to be the one that feels like truth and the one that feels impartial and the one that is like do unto others as you would have them do unto you, basically. So if I'm going to reverse the energy of this card, it feels to me like not taking responsibility for your actions, not seeing how your actions are contributing to a certain situation. Let's see, maybe being biased or only seeing one side of a situation, not seeing both sides, refusing to see both sides, or only having knowledge of one side of a situation and not having any understanding of the other side, and therefore making a decision that's only taken one side into consideration instead of both sides. The other thing that this card could mean is trying to bend the acceptable rules or the agreed upon rules in some way to try to make them go in your favor instead of following the rules the way they are so that you would get an impartial result. Well, instead you're like, oh no, let me bend the rules so that they go my way, so that they go in the direction that I want them to do. So it's very much a just, well, we're only going to take this into consideration and we're not taking everything into consideration, right? Like this is taking everything into consideration, fairness, truth, justice, and this is injustice, biased, one-sidedness, egotisticalness, only focused on one half of things, ignoring everything else, and the like that.